Imagine your phone buzzes right now,
Okay.
and it's a message from a political campaign. But it isn't, one of those aggressive all-caps robocalls begging for $5.
Right. The ones we all immediately delete.
Exactly. This one reads perfectly. I mean, the tone is exactly right. It casually references that annoying pothole on your specific street. It uses your local slang. It just feels exactly like a text from your most persuasive, well-informed neighbor.
It feels like it's talking directly to you.
Yeah, because mechanically speaking, it is. But it wasn't written by a human. So today, we're tearing the lid off the invisible automated machinery campaigns are using, like right now, to capture your vote. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Thanks. Yeah, we're really pulling back the curtain here on, the strategies, the practical tools, and concrete lessons from actual campaigns that ran between 2024 and 2026.
Right, so this isn't some distant dystopian sci-fi future.
No, not at all. This technology is operating right now on our screens, in our social media feeds, and directly in our private inboxes.
Exactly. Our mission today is to cut through all that sci-fi hype, right? We are unpacking exactly how campaigns are deploying artificial intelligence to target you.
Yep.
We'll look at what the hard data actually says about whether these personalized bots are swaying elections and the massive ethical tightrope campaigns are currently navigating.
It is an incredibly complex landscape, and to really grasp it, we have to look closely at both the extraordinary technical capabilities of these tools and, well, the very real consequences of unleashing them into the wild.
Absolutely. Now, before we dive into the deep end, we need to set a hard ground rule for this deep dive.
Good idea.
The technological strategies we're looking at, they're universal. They are being deployed all over the world across the entire political spectrum.
Right. Everyone is using this.
Yeah, whether a campaign leans left, leans right, or sits dead center, the data scientists behind the scenes are utilizing these exact same tools. So we want to make it absolutely clear to you, our listener, that we are looking strictly at the mechanics and the data here.
We're not taking sides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are not endorsing any political viewpoint or any specific candidate. We're just here to impartially report on the machinery working behind the curtain.
Just the facts and the code, basically.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this. How does a campaign actually figure out what to say to you in the first place? Like, how does a machine know you better than a canvasser knocking on your front door?
Well, to understand how AI is fundamentally altering elections, you really have to look at the leap in how it identifies its targets.
Okay.
Because in the old days, and even just a few election cycles ago, campaigns relied on, really broad, clunky demographics.
Like just your age and zip code.
Exactly. You live in a specific zip code, you fall into the 35 to 49 age bracket, and you're registered to a certain party, so you just get the standard suburban mailer. It was a shotgun approach.
Yeah.
But AI completely flips that model. It allows campaigns to ingest massive, incredibly complex data sets.
We're talking like social media activity.
Oh, social media, your precise browsing history, the geolocation data from your apps, your micro purchases, and it synthesizes all of those disparate points into a highly detailed, high-dimensional psychological profile.
So they aren't just grouping me with my neighbors anymore. They're actually isolating me. It's like walking into a restaurant where the menu only lists your absolute favorite foods, making it almost impossible to say no.
That's a great way to put it. They are mapping out your specific values. The algorithm uses thousands of data points to create vectors.
Vectors, like mathematical vectors.
Yeah, mathematical representations of what you care about, what makes you angry, and what motivates you to actually take action.
Wow. So it's like a digital chameleon. Instead of just trying to guess what color to be to blend into a forest, the AI is dynamically changing its skin, its syntactic structure, and its vocabulary to match your specific socioeconomic background.
Right, effectively bypassing your natural skepticism filters. And what's fascinating here is just how effective that chameleon act actually is when you test it in the real world.
Do we have data on that?
We do.
Yeah.
When MIT researchers ran the numbers on this back in 2023, the results were just staggering. They found that when political ads are adapted to just a single characteristic of the voter,
Like their party.
yeah, like their specific partisan leaning or just one core interest, those tailored ads can be up to 70% more effective at influencing policy support compared to a standard generic campaign message.
Wait, 70%?
Yeah, up to 70%.
That's not a marginal gain. That's a massive paradigm shift.
Yeah.
I mean, if a commercial advertiser saw a 70% bump in conversion, They would fire everyone and just run that algorithm permanently.
Absolutely. And remember, that MIT study was just looking at single characteristic adaptation.
Yeah.
When you bring large language models, or LLMs like ChatGPT and others, into the equation, the micro-targeting goes incredibly deep.
Right.
These models aren't just doing a fancy mail merge where they swap out the word taxes for healthcare. They are fundamentally altering the entire tone and structure of the argument.
Let's ground this in a real-world scenario so we can picture it. Let's say you have two voters who live right next door to each other,
Okay.
and one is a passionate environmentalist. The campaign's LLM analyzes their data vector, cross-references it with the candidate's massive, like, 100-page policy platform, and it synthesizes a highly personalized proposal.
Right.
So the environmentalist gets a message entirely focused on the candidate's plan for expanding local parks, protecting green spaces, and reducing municipal emissions.
And the syntax might even be slightly academic, appealing to their specific educational background, right?
Exactly. And then look at the neighbor. The AI identifies this person as a massive soccer fan whose data shows they prioritize, community recreation.
Okay.
The exact same LLM, pulling from the exact same candidate platform, sends them a completely different message. It links their vote for the candidate directly to increased investments in local sports infrastructure, youth leagues, stadium renovations, that kind of thing.
And the tone changes, too.
Oh, yeah, the tone might be more energetic and community-focused. And the brilliant, or I don't know, terrifying part, is that the candidate isn't technically lying to either of them.
Right.
The platform genuinely includes both parks and sports infrastructure.
Hmm.
But the AI acts as this hyper-intelligent filter. It ensures you only see the reflection of the candidate that perfectly resonates with your specific worldview.
And, the global application of this is already underway. Right now, campaigns in India and the United States are actively deploying these LLMs to generate highly personalized fundraising emails.
Wow.
And even customized, localized video content at scale. It's a fundamentally different algorithmic way of communicating with the electorate.
But that brings up a massive logistical bottleneck, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, generating a million custom messages is totally useless if you don't have the bandwidth to actually write them and test them all.
Yeah, that's the catch.
Human hands literally cannot write a million unique, psychologically tailored emails. You just can't hire enough copywriters for that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where it gets really interesting, because the AI isn't just the analyst here.
Right, it is the generator.
Exactly.
Generative AI steps in to fill that entire void of production. Within minutes, an LLM can draft speeches, design hyper-specific graphics, and write text messages tailored to countless sub-audiences.
It's just wild.
But it's the optimization process that truly separates the machine from human strategists. Campaigns are using AI for rapid A/B testing on an unprecedented scale.
And they're doing this with incredible regional precision, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was reading in the source that if a campaign is operating across diverse linguistic regions, say targeting voters across Mexico, Colombia, or Spain, the AI can instantly adjust the phrasing.
That's instantly.
It swaps out regional slang, modifies the formality, and tweaks the idioms so the message sounds exactly like it was written by a local in that specific neighborhood,
Yeah.
rather than a centralized campaign office in a capital city hundreds of miles away.
And it does this relentlessly. We're talking about high-speed multivariant testing. The AI can simulate thousands of variations of a single message, test them mathematically against small sample groups, and use reinforcement learning to optimize the language until it finds the absolute most effective combination of words.
So it's basically evolving the message in real time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In one major experiment, AI-generated campaign flyers were actually chosen 6.7% more often by voters than flyers designed by top-tier human strategists.
It's essentially outmarketing the humans because it has no ego.
That's a huge part of it.
Right? A human copywriter gets attached to a clever headline. The AI just looks at the conversion rate, kills the clever headline, and iterates 100 more times before the human has even finished their coffee.
Yep.
I even read that campaigns are using these models to simulate entire political debates, having candidates spar against an AI that perfectly mimics their human opponent's rhetorical style and historical voting record.
Yeah. It is the ultimate sparring partner. So, the content generation, the rapid iteration, the strategic modeling, that is all being automated.
Okay, but generating all this brilliant localized content is one thing. Delivering it organically is another. How are campaigns actually sneaking these AI messages into our private, everyday communication channels?
Delivery is where the technology gets highly intimate, actually, and it's largely happening through conversational bots.
Like chatbots.
Yeah. For example, in India, political parties have utilized WhatsApp chatbots on a massive scale.
Oh, because WhatsApp is huge there.
Right. It's the primary communication artery there. And campaigns weren't just blasting out static read-only messages. They were programming bots to engage in automated branching conversations with voters.
Wow.
Similarly, in the United States, we've seen campaigns use SMS and messenger bots to increase voter turnout. They're trying to create a dialogue where one side is entirely synthetic.
Hold on, I really have to push back on this a bit.
Oh.
Because I understand a bot sending a sterile, automated reminder. Something like, polls open at 8 a.m. Here is your voting location. That is basically just a digital alarm clock. I get that.
Sure.
But the source material talks about campaigns deploying 247 political friend bots.
Yeah, that's the phrase.
A bot designed to build a parasocial relationship with you, sending you local memes, asking about your day, trying to organically motivate you. Does a personalized meme from a robot actually get someone off the couch to go vote? It just sounds a bit absurd.
It does sound like a stretch, and honestly, you're hitting on the exact reason why we have to look past the campaign marketing and look at the actual scientific evidence.
Right.
When we look at the randomized controlled trials, the rigorous isolated field experiments testing these exact tools, the data reveals a massive divide between two fundamental political strategies:
Which are?
mobilization and persuasion.
Right. Mobilization being the logistics of getting people who already agree with you to actually show up to the polls, and persuasion being the act of fundamentally changing someone's mind and flipping their vote.
Exactly. And the data shows that while AI has modest but highly reliable and statistically significant effects on mobilization, its ability to directly persuade someone to change their vote is, well, incredibly limited.
So I was right. If I am a diehard supporter of candidate a chatbot pretending to be my friend and sending me a clever meme isn't going to suddenly make me vote for candidate B.
Not at all. Deeply held political beliefs, which are tied to identity and community, they are notoriously difficult to change.
Makes sense.
The limited persuasion effect of AI is actually entirely consistent with decades of pre-AI meta-analyses of campaign tactics. Persuasion is just hard. What AI does beautifully, however, is reduce the friction of voting. It reminds you to register, it helps you find your polling place, it answers logistical questions instantly, and yeah, it nudges you when you're feeling apathetic. It isn't a master manipulator, it's just a highly efficient, personalized logistical assistant.
But there's another piece of data in the research that completely stopped me in my tracks. And it totally upends the narrative we usually hear about AI and politics.
Oh, the tone experiments.
Yes. When researchers ran blind tests comparing AI-generated political arguments against human-generated ones, the AI didn't just win on efficiency, it won on tone.
Right.
The AI consistently generated arguments that were significantly clearer and much more positive than those made by human politicians.
It's a brilliant paradox, isn't it? We inherently associate AI in politics with dystopia, manipulation, toxicity, but you have to look at the underlying mechanics of how these models are built.
Okay, unpack that.
The base programming of many large language models utilizes something called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF.
RLHF, right?
During their training, these models are heavily penalized for being toxic, aggressive, or deceptive. They are optimized by their corporate creators to be helpful, harmless, and honest.
While human politics, especially right now, is practically fueled by the exact opposite.
Unfortunately, yes.
I mean, human campaigns rely heavily on negative polarization, emotional attacks, tearing down the opponent, muddying the waters.
Exactly. So when you ask a human politician to explain a policy, you often get a mix of spin, vitriol, and attack ads.
Yeah.
But when you ask a strictly governed AI to explain that same policy, it strips away the negative polarization. It presents a remarkably lucid, structurally sound, and optimistic case for the policy itself.
That is a staggering thought. The machine, because of its corporate safety guardrails, is actually elevating the civility of the political discourse. It's basically too polite for modern politics.
In these specific experimental settings, yes, it is. And this mathematical, rational approach extends far beyond just writing polite text messages. Campaigns and electoral offices are heavily utilizing predictive analysis to completely optimize their physical, real-world resources.
Right, because elections are ultimately resource allocation problems.
Yeah.
You only have so much money and so many volunteers.
And predictive models solve that problem using Bayesian probability.
Okay.
They ingest historical data and current polling to forecast precise turnout models. They use probabilistic modeling to identify exactly which households contain undecided
Oh,
voters.
wow.
This means human volunteers aren't wasting precious time knocking on the doors of guaranteed supporters or, getting doors slammed in their faces by guaranteed
They
opponents.
only talk to the people who matter.
Exactly. The AI mathematically optimizes canvassing routes, dynamically adjusts ad spending across platforms in real time, and squeezes every possible ounce of efficiency out of a campaign budget.
So what does this all mean? I mean, optimizing resources and mobilizing voters sounds great on paper, but absolute efficiency in a system designed purely to capture power is a massive double-edged sword.
It really is.
If AI is this incredibly good at profiling us, dynamically adapting its messaging and optimizing its reach, what happens when the safety guardrails come off?
That's the big fear.
The legacy of Cambridge Analytica looms incredibly large here, which the source notes. We already saw what happened a decade ago when extreme micro-targeting and opaque data harvesting collided with an election, and that was before generative AI was supercharged.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the logistical consequences of this optimization problem are severe.
Yeah.
When a system's only metric for success is capturing a vote, it will find the most efficient path to that goal, regardless of reality. The most immediate threat we're seeing is the explosion of deepfakes and highly realistic synthetic audio and video.
Right.
We are entering an environment where voters can no longer implicitly trust their own eyes and ears.
Which fundamentally erodes the baseline of shared reality required for an election to even function. It isn't just about tricking someone into voting the wrong way. It's about creating pervasive, paralyzing confusion.
Exactly.
If everything could be fake, then the truth itself becomes suspicious.
And it isn't always intentional deception by a malicious actor either. There's a massive risk of AI hallucinations and inherited biases.
How so?
Well, if an AI model is directing campaign resources or framing arguments, and its training data contains historical biases against certain demographics, the AI will mathematically amplify those biases at an incredible scale.
Wow, yeah.
Furthermore, an algorithm optimized purely for voter conversion might simply invent entirely unrealistic political promises. It might promise a bridge in a town with no river simply because the data vector suggests the voter responds well to infrastructure spending.
Doesn't care if it's true.
No, the AI doesn't have to govern, it just has to win the interaction.
Which brings up a critical point from the text about access and inequality. Right now, developing, fine-tuning, and deploying these highly sophisticated AI tools requires significant capital and massive data infrastructure.
It's expensive.
Huge, well-funded campaigns completely dominate this space right now.
They do, but there is a really compelling counter-narrative regarding democratization.
Really?
Yeah. As these tools transition from expensive custom-built models to cheap, off-the-shelf software, they could dramatically level the playing field. This is particularly relevant in the Spanish-speaking world and across developing democracies where social networks are the primary arteries of political communication.
Oh, I see what you mean. Imagine a local, severely under-resourced candidate running for municipal office. A year ago, they couldn't afford a team of data scientists, pollsters, and professional copywriters. But today, with a $50 monthly subscription to an advanced AI toolkit, they can suddenly generate professional messaging, run predictive analytics on their local voter rolls, and execute a highly sophisticated digital ground game that rivals a national operation.
Exactly. The exact same technology that empowers massive political machines could, theoretically, give a megaphone to the underdog.
That's fascinating.
But realizing that positive vision and avoiding the erosion of shared reality we talked about, that requires aggressive structural mitigation of the risks.
And the frameworks for those mitigations are already being built. I know number one on the list in the source is the absolute necessity for the mandatory disclosure of AI use.
Yes.
If you are looking at a campaign image, watching a video, or reading a text from a bot, there needs to be an undeniable label. This content was generated by AI. I mean, several jurisdictions are already passing laws requiring watermarks to combat deepfakes.
Transparency has to be the baseline requirement. But beyond that, the most critical logistical safeguard is the human-in-the-loop requirement.
The human in the loop.
Yeah, campaigns cannot legally or ethically put these systems on complete autopilot. There must always be a human verifying the accuracy of the AI's claims, checking for hallucinations, and auditing the targeting parameters. You just cannot outsource ultimate responsibility to a probabilistic algorithm.
And I guess the final piece of this puzzle falls squarely on us, the voters. The machinery is only going to get faster and more persuasive. which means we need a massive societal push for digital literacy education.
Absolutely.
Citizens need to understand how vectors and data profiling work so they can recognize when they're being micro-targeted.
Yeah.
We have to understand the invisible architecture that delivers these perfectly tailored messages to our screens so we can critically evaluate them, rather than just emotionally reacting to them.
It requires a fundamental shift in our defensive posture as consumers of information. We have to approach political messaging with a structural skepticism, recognizing the chameleon for what it is.
Which brings us to the core takeaway for you, our listener. What we've uncovered today is that AI is not some omnipotent magic wand that perfectly controls human behavior and flips elections overnight.
No, it's not.
It is an amplifier. It takes human political strategy, ingests oceans of our personal data, and makes the execution of that strategy faster, broader, and infinitely more personal.
Yep.
It reduces the friction of mobilization and mathematically optimizes every dollar spent. But the fundamentals of human connection remain. Deeply held beliefs are stubborn. Charisma, genuine honesty, and real unscripted human contact are still irreplaceable.
Definitely.
But the next time your phone buzzes with a hyper-specific campaign text, or you see a perfectly tailored ad that seems to know exactly what keeps you up at night, well, you will know exactly how it got there. You will see the matrix. You will understand the invisible, automated machinery working tirelessly behind the scenes, analyzing your data vectors, running high-speed A/B tests on its vocabulary, and dynamically refining its approach, all to capture your vote.
And as we navigate this new, highly optimized landscape, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, building on that strange paradox we discussed earlier.
About the tone.
Yeah. We noted that, thanks to safety guardrails and reinforcement learning, AI often generates clearer, more positive, and more rational arguments than human politicians do. It strips away the vitriol and presents a calm, logical case.
Right.
So as we, the electorate, become increasingly accustomed to the calm, rational, perfectly tailored tone of AI chatbots, will human politicians actually be forced to change how they speak?
Oh, wow.
Will the human leaders of tomorrow have to artificially mimic the polite, neutral cadence of the machines just to seem reasonable to us?
That is a wild, fascinating thought to end on. A world where the humans have to pass a Turing test for civility. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time.